Good morning, and thanks for joining us with Coffee and Real Estate Scoop with Stacy. I'm Stacy Martin of the Martin DreamToHOME Team at Keller Williams Realty, and we're so excited that we have our special guest today, Heather Suri, and Heather is with Pathways of Aging. She is a nurse, and she's going to tell us a little bit about herself. Hi, Heather.
Yes, good morning, and thanks so much for having me, Stacy. My name is Heather Suri. I am an aging life care manager. I'm also a registered nurse. I've been a nurse for a couple of decades. And for those of you who don't know, aging life care managers or aging life care professionals, we are a distinct profession that's been around more than 35 years now, mostly social workers and nurses. And most of us specialize in helping families manage the care of older adults. So we help with coordinating medical care, senior housing and placement, identifying resources in the community, crisis intervention, basically anything that has to do with the challenges of care for older adults is our area of expertise.
That's so great because people really do need, especially when they're going through a stressful time. And the stressful times in life are when someone you love is very sick, when someone you love has passed, when you get married, when you buy a house, all these big life events. They're very stressful, and you definitely need someone on your side, an advocate, to help you know your choices and then lay them out and help you, walk you through them to know what choice is best for you and your family, or in this case, your elderly family member. Right?
Absolutely. And I think it's even more timely now as we see kind of the changes in the generations and the patterns. You've probably heard people reference the sandwich generation. I'm right there in the sandwich generation. So many of us have aging parents and grandparents who need assistance. A lot of us also have kids at home, or maybe kids who are still in college and then returning back home. And then traditionally, it's been the daughters who have done the caring, and a lot of us daughters are in the workforce now. And so families really need an expert to help figure out what is the best plan for you and for your loved ones, and to really be clear on what the options are.
Right, exactly. And there's been a lot of talk recently here because we've been having a pandemic. So everyone's a little bit more stressed out about having their loved ones in a nursing home type facility. Can you touch on that and your expertise in that department?
Absolutely. And we are seeing more of that, of people who had planned on moving into like assisted living, or people who are coming out of a hospitalization and would normally go to skilled nursing for rehab or maybe for long-term care. Families are relooking at that. And some are delaying that decision to move into assisted living because of the higher risk for COVID. We know that more than half of the COVID-19 outbreaks are occurring in these congregate care settings. So families are kind of taking a pause and trying to see if there are other solutions to ensure that their loved ones' care needs are met, but without putting them at increased risk for COVID. Now, there are some circumstances when the safest option is still assisted living or still skilled nursing care. And, I can tell you I'm in and out of these buildings. I have been for years. A lot of them are doing a really, really good job with trying to mitigate the risk for infection. So I don't want to scare people away from that if it really is the right choice. But it helps to talk it through and to know that for a lot of people, there are other options.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And you mentioned, the risk that they would endure potentially by going in, and not to mention what has been happening recently with just the risk of not being able to be with them and to see them again,
Yes.
heaven forbid.
Yes.
So
And to advocate for them. I mean, we all know these places are busy places. A lot of them are kind of chronically understaffed. And so family members, friends, volunteers have traditionally created that additional layer of infrastructure in these places
and
that,
comfort.
quite frankly, they've been reliant on. You have probably been there, Stacy.
Totally.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely have
So,
loved ones there where, you're there and you're like, oh, I'll fill your, water for you because I'm here, or
right,
I'll go grab that extra blanket for you because I'm
right.
here and I can certainly be of help. And so why wait for the nurse? Because she might be, you know, helping someone who has a deeper, more serious issue right now.
And so now they have a lot less of that informal support and often much sicker people who are in there. So it's very difficult for the staff. I think that they're doing the best that they can, but it's a huge consideration for families, and difficult emotionally to not know what's going on in real time.
Right, right, absolutely. So if somebody was in need to hire you for your services, tell us a little bit about your company and how you started it and why you have that passion to do this.
Absolutely. Well, I spent most of my career working in geriatrics and hospice care. And so I've always worked in the community. Working with older adults has always been my passion. And so after doing that for 20 years, I found that when I worked for other organizations, whether it was home health or long-term care or home care, I was needing to stay in my lane, and I would go, let's say, in a home to talk about home care, but I see all of these other things that these families need. And so it was a really natural transition for me to start my own practice and bring all of those years of expertise. And then, I live here in Loudoun County. I see clients all over Northern Virginia, but we have got such a wonderful and robust small business community in this area. And so it really allows me as a small business owner to form relationships in this network. So a big part of what I do is connecting my clients with the best that services that are available in the community. And I love working with other small businesses who can be very high touch, and the owners are very involved, and where my clients aren't just a number. So this area, this Northern Virginia area, has been such a fun place to do this work. I'm happy to drop my contact information in the chat. The name of my practice is Pathways in Aging. And I work with a lot of folks here in my community. I'm always happy to talk through with you your challenges, even if my services aren't quite right for you or what you need. Or sometimes I talk to people here in Loudoun whose parents live out of state. And so that was something I wanted to do this morning. I wanted to share with you, and I'm going to share my screen here just briefly, so you know where to find an aging life care manager, no matter where you live in the country. Because some of you might be watching here locally, but have parents in Florida or have parents someplace else. And obviously I'm not the right one to help your folks in Florida, but I have many colleagues all over the country who can. So let me show you how to do that.
Okay, great. Now, is your business like a franchise, or you're an independent, but then you belong to like a network, or?
So this is my website, pathwaysinaging.com. And it's just my own individual practice. I have a very small team who works with me. I belong to the Aging Life Care Association. That's our professional association. There's no state regulations or licenses for aging life care professionals like there are for nurses or for licensed social workers. So our professional association provides that structure for us. We have a code of ethics that we adhere to. Our professional association ensures that we have the education, work experience, and we also advanced professionals like myself have passed a national credentialing exam that demonstrates that we have the broad knowledge base to do this work. So because anyone can hang out their shingle and say they're a care manager, I choose to belong to this professional association and encourage people to use it. And this is what it is here, the Aging Life Care Association, because you know that you're going to work with someone who really has the experience and the credentials to do this work. And if you are, look here, you can see the little search icon here, find an aging life care expert. This allows you to do a zip code search. I'm gonna pop in my zip code there just for fun. I recommend that you go with the advanced professional. That's gonna give you someone with kind of the highest level of credentialing. And then you just hit search. And there I am. But I also have lots of amazing, this area especially, we've got lots of great people who are also credentialed, who can also help in this area. And you can do this search for anywhere in the country. I'm the president-elect of the Mid-Atlantic chapter of the Aging Life Care Association, so I'm a big supporter of that organization.
That is wonderful. And what a great tip to know about that site. That's excellent. So, and, sometimes the solution is, and you probably know this, it's, and probably some of the things that you recommend. So just from my perspective, from the real estate perspective, multi-generational homes, that is something that's
Yes.
taking off, where you have everyone living in the same household. So what if the house doesn't work? Well, potentially purchase a different home, potentially take a home you have and do an addition, right?
Yep.
There's lots of ways to get around what we need to do, right? And to make sure that it's safe and has the right kind of, systems, the right kind of, distance from bathrooms and handlebars, to hold on to make sure if they're walking, that's safe. Make sure you can get in and out of a bed. You have space for a wheelchair. You have space for a walker. You have space for, potentially an IV, the right type of electricity. I mean, there's so many things that go into it. What can you say to touch on that? I mean, that was just from top of my head, what I know that I would think of, when I'm talking to someone.
Sure.
What would you say, Heather?
Yeah, well, and I'm hearing more and more. I mean, every week I have these conversations with clients and with people in the community. It's interesting because this pandemic has shifted our mindset in a lot of different ways. People are working from home. A lot of people are finding that works for a variety of reasons. I think that we'll probably see a shift of more people working from home. And we work with a lot of elders who, maybe they don't have personal care needs just yet. But there are lots of things that cause people to have to move out of their homes, even if they don't need someone to help them in the shower, for example.
No, but maybe they just need someone to check on them, and you just need them around, and it's a two-way street, because
Yeah.
sometimes, the grandparents can be there for the kids, and sometimes, we don't have children ourselves, but we have lots of nieces and nephews. But I know that sometimes, in all families, that the kids will be more apt to go along with what the grandparents are saying, as opposed to mom and dad, right? There's just something about grandparents, right? So
there's lots of benefits to multi-generational living. So just having somebody in the house at night, older adults, things like sometimes getting to the mailbox and back can be challenging. Dealing with, maybe by the end of the day, having to do that last meal preparation can be hard. And really these days, the social isolation is a huge, huge factor. So we're asking all of these older adults to socially isolate. Don't go out, stay in your house, don't expose yourself to this virus. Well, I'm telling you, the older adults I work with, they're over it. They are, I was talking last night with some folks, and they say they feel like they've got the biological clock problem, but in reverse. I've got so many years left on this planet. I am not going to, spend it barricaded in my home. So having a multi-generational living situation can be a way to combat that social isolation piece too. People want to see their parents. They want to see their grandparents. They don't want to have to get on a plane or put their parents on a plane. So it really, if it's the right situation, it really does solve a lot of problems for people.
Right.
Yeah.
And it could extend that elders person's life by just having that company and having that
Yes.
one more meal that's an actual meal as opposed to a snack, right? Because
Yes.
even when I'm alone, I'm not going to make a big meal, right? Because there's no use. It's just me. I'll just grab something. So I can see how that can definitely help.
Loneliness is a huge health risk factor. People don't always realize that, but it's we know there have been studies that have been done that show that that loneliness can affect our health in similar ways, or shorten our lives, just like smoking and some of these other things that affect our health negatively. So that's a huge factor. I think that what's important when families are considering this is that they really think it through and make sure that it's the right situation for everybody, and that they really try to find the right space to do it. And I think that many of the families that I'm working with, especially here in Virginia, where a lot of the housing is colonial, we don't have a lot of main floor living. Um, Sometimes these families are really looking at, or we have a lot of younger families who are in townhomes, and sometimes it's hard to make that work if we're really adding 2 more adults to the household. So sometimes finding a new home and really going into it with your wish list is a good way to address it.
Right.
That's what I'm hearing from my clients. Yeah.
Yes. And I'm hearing of the in-between before you get all the way in, the tiny house in the backyard, if you have land and if you don't have an HOA potentially. So where you can, build another little structure that has all the things that you need, but they still have their independence, but they're right there.
And I love that solution. I have not had a family do that yet, but I'm very excited to see someone do that and to watch that process come through, because, culturally, us as Americans, we value our independence. And we see this very much with this kind of aging generation. They want to have their independence. Often it's the kids that are encouraging their parents to come, and the parents don't want to come. So it's a great solution to allow that privacy and independence, but still that security and that social interaction.
Right, exactly. So, well, what else would you like to share with us today about your business and your plan to help folks? What else can, we do to help you?
Yeah, well, I would just say, if this is something you're considering, that you're talking with your folks, or you want to talk with your folks about forming a multi-generational household, to reach out to me or reach out to another aging life care professional. This really is our area of expertise, and we can assess your folks, really understand what their needs are now. We can help you project what their needs will be in the future, and we can really help you knock out that kind of wish list. If you are going to look at a new property, what should you be looking for that will allow this solution to work for you over time? I'm would be happy to speak with any of you about that, and welcome your contacts.
Yes, we definitely will. Tell us how this type of service is paid for. Is it something that insurance kicks in, or it's independent of insurance? I really don't have any idea, but I would love to know so I could help share that with people.
Absolutely. There are some long-term care policies, especially the older ones. They don't make them like they used to, for sure. But a lot of the older long-term care insurance policies might have some coverage for care management. So that's a good resource to look into. Right now, Medicare does not cover what we do at all. So we are under private pay. There are some circumstances, some grant programs out there. One that many people don't know about is the Senior Living Foundation for the American Foreign Service offers grants for care management. And I work with a lot of either active Foreign Service officers who have to post and their folks are here, or to working with retired Foreign Service officers. So that's another kind of area to look into for coverage for these types of services. But my rates are on my website. I have a flat fee for an assessment, and then for folks who work with me hourly after that, I have an hourly rate.
Okay, great. And I know I've personally gone to your website before and found some good stuff, but most importantly, your Facebook page. So tell folks how to follow you.
Yeah, so my Facebook page is just Heather CMC, um, and I do post articles on there, try to interact with folks on there. I also write blogs; those are on my website, and I often cross post them onto Facebook. So I try to get good information out there. You know, I have a grandmother with dementia who is in a nursing home. I have aging parents myself, so I'm in the same boat, and I know what kind of information I would want to know. Try to share that with people in the community as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Because until you need to go down that path, you don't know where to start. It's not something where, well, I kind of know how to cook, so I can just expand on it. It's not something that
Right.
we know how to do, right? We were not taught.
You don't get a dry run until you're in it. Yeah, yeah.
Right, right. Exactly. Exactly. So, anything else that you wanted to tell us today to make sure we know about before we end our call?
I just really appreciate the opportunity to get on here and talk about this. It's very, very timely, and I'm excited to know that that you're a great resource to help these families find that new home that they need to move forward in this challenging time.
Absolutely. All kinds of things are popping up that are important to people since COVID. We're dealing with having families move in. We're dealing with having families need multiple workspaces for kids to do
Yes.
schoolwork and parents to have home offices and all kinds of fun things. So we're here as the Martin Dream to Home team, both residential and commercial, to help everyone with, you know, all of their real estate needs. We also work with land, which has been a very popular thing as well, since the market has been so busy and crazy and people are getting outbid. People are turning to land to build, to just start from scratch, you know, make their own space. So I can't tell you, I mean, never have I had this many. And between the two of us, between my husband Ed and I, who's my business partner, the two of us had so many people. We have listings that are land and people looking for land. So just trying to match
Right.
everybody up to make sure that we help their dream come true, right? Because everybody's family is different, everybody's dream is different, and you know, it may not be something that you know, is for everyone, the multi-generational living, but it is something to definitely go down, you know, that discovery path and try to find out if that, you know, that's going to work for you and your family, and take everybody's situation in your family into consideration, right? You know, what your needs
Absolutely.
are, what your,
Absolutely.
you
It's
know,
got to work for everyone. And we can help you do that. You know, I think just in closing, right before we hop off, if you are the adult daughter or son who is considering moving your parents in, it's got to work for you. You know, the family dynamics have to work for you. The relationships have to work for you. You have to be comfortable with the care needs. That is equally as important, you know, to finding the right situation for your folks. So when we talk this through, it's not just about the older adults' needs. We got to look at the big picture, the whole family's needs, and make sure it works for everybody.
Right, absolutely. And I know I've mentioned this on other calls, but we do have several different resources. If anyone out there is, you know, watching this, that we have some resources, some free educational resources to help you plan, you know, business planning of your life, really, you know. And so is it affordable to move up? Is it affordable to have that, you know, do that addition? You know, we can connect you with contractors and all kinds of folks that can help you get to your goals. So definitely let us know here, and we're happy to help. And to get that guide, you can just send us back a text. My cell phone number 703-795-3959, and follow us as well on Facebook, and reach out to us if you have any real estate needs. So thank you, Heather. Thank you so much for being our guest today. It was a delight to talk to you more about your small business, and we appreciate it so, so much.
Thank you so much, Stacy.
Thank you, Heather.
All right. Bye-bye, Ed.
Weekend.
You too.